Okay, this is for Harbor Freight 2 horsepower dust collector. Yeah, there's a million videos out there. I went looking for a quick assembly video, and that just seems to be a bunch of people in fast motion assembling it, which wasn't of much help. The instructions really are, if you're used to Harbor Freight instructions, these are even worse. So I'm going to give a quick couple of tips that hopefully help. First one, to get the wheels on, because that's the first step, you're going to want to put it upside down because it's easier. And what you're feeding in is one of these screws. If you look at the instructions, the number of screws they're quoting just aren't in the box. So either I'm missing boatloads of stuff or the instructions are as horrible as I'm telling you. So you're going to do a screw, one of the little washers. So the screw parts are sorted. And that's going from what would be the top, so since it's upside down, through, and then you're going to put one of the small lock washers on and a flat nut, not these nuts, of which there's 5, and I think those match up with these 5 bolts. So not one of the lock nuts or safety nuts. Instead, you're going to do a screw with a flat washer on it through the base into the wheel, the caster, then put a lock nut and a flat nut. I'll come back with more. Okay, we're up to the bag support. There's 3 of them, and again, if you separated all your parts out nice, we're working with the medium-sized flat washers, the medium-sized lock washers, and the short bolts. So you're going to grab one of the short bolts, you're going to put a flat washer on it, rather a spring washer, a flat, and it's going into the support. There's nuts down there that are welded on, so the instruction says place a nut underneath, and when you look at the quantities, it lists a whole bunch of nuts, and you'll look at what you got and say, I don't see them. They're welded underneath. They're half-acidly welded, somewhat straight. So, and the top I have going this way. There's nothing in the instructions indicating which way it's supposed to go. I think it's supposed to be bent this way because the bag's going to go on that side. We'll see when I put it together. Okay, at this point, the 3 uprights are attached. I haven't tightened up anything. I'll save that till the end. Haven't tightened those yet. I'll hit those with an impact gun from up top because they do have a lock washer underneath. And all 3 I have bent in. We'll see if that's the way to go. Oh, if you're wondering about the tarps there, that's because it's a tin ceiling, tin roof rather, and if I run heaters, either that one or that one, it starts to rain in here pretty much. Like that. So I've opted to shut the heat off for a little while. It is cold as a witch's thorax. Interesting side feature. The wheels do lock, but good luck getting your foot under there to lock them. So they lock, but it's kind of way under there. So I don't know how effective that is. This is all temporary anyway. My big overall plan is to put a thien baffle on it at some point. That's it for this part. I'm going to throw the motor on and come back after that. Okay, in going to put the motor on, the thing you'll notice is here's some of the mounting holes, and here's what look like some more of the mounting holes. And as you can see, they're not going to mount to the same place. If you scratch around in the box, you'll find this thing. There is no mention made of it in the instructions at all. So now you have to ponder how to mount it. These holes are pretty obvious. I'm going to use the same bolts that I used in the supports with the same lock washers and flat washers. The same thing, these 2 holes, so that would be this one and that one, are for the fan support. So again, those 2 are easy. It's these 4 that I'm not sure what nuts and bolts go with. I think these 4 bolts, because there's 4 of them. I'm tempted to say these washers, and since there's 8, I'm guessing a washer on either side. possibly a lock washer somewhere along the way. And I'm guessing these nuts. But there's 6 of these nuts, so I had kind of originally thought, well, maybe they do go with that. I'm not sure what the 2 spares are for. Maybe they're locks, like a second nut on there to lock it on. Who knows? I'll come back as I start to get that stand mounted. Okay, back to mounting the motor. These ears go down into the base, and that's in the fan assembly. Now, as for the motor, there's no real instructions on it at all, so here's how I'm winging it. The motor is sitting kind of perched on top of this bracket. The bracket I already went over how that went in. I'm using one of the big washers, one of the big bolts, and I'm going to just drop it in like that. So it's just washer and bolt. On the bottom, another one of the big washers. So there's only 8 big washers. They were over here before. Big washer, lock nut, and flat nut. These are flat nuts. They're the only flat nuts that came in there. These other ones are tiny, and they're lock nuts in there. They got nothing to do with this part. So underneath, flat washer, lock washer, nut. I'm going to do that to all 4 underneath here, and I'll come back. Okay, the part stack dwindles. That means we're closing in on done. Next thing. Again, it's not too clear on all this. This needs to go on here. That's encouraging. It can kind of go on. Let's see if it goes on in a particular direction. No, it fits half-assed. Sorry about that. It fits half-assedly in either direction, so no big commitment there. It needs this gasket. So that's going to go on there first. Sorry, I'm not a pro. That gasket goes on. Then this will go on top of it. And here's where we play the screw game of looking at what's left and figuring out what's supposed to go on. You're going to use these. These are the smaller screws. They're medium length, but they're small thread. They go with these small lock nuts. So there's 6 of those. There's 6 of those, and that's all that comes in it. And since there's 6 holes here, we'll make that leap of faith that those are the ones that go there. Now, washers. I thought these went with it, but no. It's the little tiny ones. No lock washers with this because we're using lock nuts. Tough to see in the video. And you're going to do a washer, I would guess, on top and on the bottom. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to leave 3 washers left. Not sure what that means. I can tell you that the 6 medium washers and 6 medium lock washers seem to go with the 6 of those bolts that are left. I'm guessing they're going to go into the thing that holds the bags. I have 2 more nuts left. No idea where they go. They may be related to these 2 screws. We'll see. Okay, next, filter support. I'm assuming that the label is on correctly, so put it with the label readable. And that determines what's upside down and right side up. You're going to aim the outlet towards the intake of the fan housing. So that means it's going to sit kind of like this. It goes on. Again, the nuts are already in there, so you're using your remaining 6 bolts, the same kind that you put into the base, and same arrangement of a lock nut and a lock washer and a flat washer, sorry. Lock washer and flat washer. Quantity 6, 2 per pole. More junk is going to go onto one of them, namely, that's me tripping over an I-beam. This support, this holds the bag up on the top. It used to be just kind of slouched in there, so I guess they added this to be fancy. This is going to go onto one of these supports. So you see it's kind of designed to fit through there. However, I can't balance all that crap at once. So I'm going with plan B of putting all the bolts in, the 6 bolts, putting them in loose, and then I'll go back and put that on through 2 of these bolts. And I'll try and decipher from the instructions. Judging from the picture, the little bag support goes on the support arm that's closest to the motor. So I'll be back with that. Okay, so like I said, 6 bolts, 2 to that support and 2 to this support. And what I wound up doing is I put 1 bolt in here to hold this side, then I put 1 here, and then 1 on that side, and then came around and put a second one here and there. And on this one, I then took the opportunity to put a magic support in as well. Obviously, everything is still loose because you haven't seen me tighten it really. With it mostly put together now, and the handle. That's what makes it pro right there, good quality handle. Or something like that. Next step for me would be to tighten all these down. They're a weird head. Let's see if you can pick that up on the camera. It's like a square on a Phillips. I guess that's a square head. That's a popular bit in Canada. That's my little limited understanding. And an electrical. Though it looks too big to be the electrical one. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Getting too much glare off it so you can't really see it. Does it help? Nope, that doesn't help. Okay, enough time wasted. Gonna tighten those up. Tighten up all the bolts, especially the motor housing. So leftover parts, that's always a highlight. 4 washers. So on events like this, I choose to think that the Chinese are generous, caring people, and they provide extra parts in case these particular items roll away. That's what I'm going with. The only place that I could think of where they might go would be in here, because the only thing that took bolts of that size were these 6, but I only have 4 left, so that doesn't match up. And these also took those small washers, and those are the things holding on the casters. And there's a washer on each side. So that also doesn't account for 4 extra, unless I magically forgot 4 on one of the casters, and I didn't. That's it. I'll show it when it's all put together. Again, this is a temporary until I can put together a nice little top hat, fine top hat, mainly to keep the filter from clogging up. That would be the goal there. I'm pondering, you see how that enters? That looks a lot like the beginning of the thien baffle. So I'm pondering what I can do, but I'm guessing a bunch of people smarter than me have attempted this part of it and bailed and constructed something else. So I'll update with another video when I actually make something better. There'll be one more part to this video where I show it all put together. For now, that's it. Okay, the hose is kind of rubbery, more than it is plastic, so it's actually sticky almost against the metal. I sprayed it with silicone a little bit on each of the 2 flanges, and then the hose went on a lot easier. If you're running a woodworking shop, you're cringing at the thought that I used silicone, because silicone in any kind of woodworking shop tends to get all over the place somehow magically and then frigs up finishes, but I tend to half-ass things, so that's not going to be too big a problem for me. One other thing, so learn from my mistakes. My theory was put everything on loose and then tighten it up at the end. That works really good for Harbor Freight stuff because it tends not to be very well aligned or properly drilled or properly done anything with. So I went to tighten up everything at the end. That works really well for these. Tighten them right up. When I went to go for these, by the way, I said it's a squarish thing and a Phillipsy thing. It looks like a number 1 Phillips, the really beefy one that you've never used for anything before. That's what worked well in those. Tighten those up fine using an impact gun. You just give it a quick squeeze, don't go crazy. It's Chinese stuff, it tends to break if you really tighten it down. When I got to here, I realized, my big plan of tightening things up goes failure. You can't get to these 2 very easily because that's now in the way. So I reached in there with a pair of needle nose and then tightened it from the back. That's about the only change I'd say from what I originally said to do. I put the bag still on.